Alex Jones, another big one. These are people that normally would question the narrative, normally would, especially Alex Jones, not believe what the government's telling him, question everything. And he's been very, very quick to come out and basically say, trust the government on this one. I mean, he doesn't say it like that, but he's affirming all of everything they're saying for the most part. What do you make of this? I mean, some people say, oh, they got the call, Israel, they're in Israel's pocket. But when you were just bringing up the Trump administration, it made me think they don't have to be in Israel's pocket at all. They just need to be in the pocket of the current administration, or feel pressure from the current administration in some way. Because, like you said, even if the current administration is totally and completely innocent in this and they have nothing to do with this, maybe they might see things that are suspicious of Israel and then they just kind of cover it up because that's what they do for Israel all the time. But maybe they're like not involved. They don't know about this. But what they do know is it is a really good narrative to say it's the crazy lefties that did this, because that is politically extremely expedient for this administration. It's politically expedient for midterms, for the entire agenda, right? That is politically expedient. So you'd want to stick with that, even if you knew, like, why would they care about it being anybody other than a left-wing crazy? I mean, even if they're not involved, even if they're getting no pressure from Israel, even if there's no Mossad aspect inside the administration, right? Do you kind of follow what I'm saying? Like,
100%.
let's assume Israel did it, but they don't need to involve the administration. They don't need the administration's help in covering it up. All they have to do is say left-wing crazy. Here's like a left trans furry death cult, and then the administration's like, yes, thank you. We need this politically, and they're going to run with that. So it could be, when people are looking at these influencers, like, what is it? What is their issue? I mean, some of these guys are in a lot of big trouble with the government, wrongly in big trouble for their First Amendment rights. They absolutely never should have been in big trouble for using their First Amendment rights, but they nonetheless were. Alex Jones has been, he's still dealing with a lot of money issues. Nick Fuentes was ripped off the internet for a long time. I'm sure under investigation. I'm sure he's dealt with a lot of stuff. So you've got these influencers, and I'm not saying necessarily, but it is suspicious that, the very people that would normally question are not. And so it could be that they're getting a lot of pressure just from the government and not the call from Israel, right? And which is kind of the theory that people are saying, like, oh, they're just in with Mossad now. But no, like, they got a call from the US government or people in those positions saying, like, do you want what happened to you to happen again? Because we can make that happen. Like, you go down this path, Alex, and Sandy Hook all over again. We will make sure of it. Or if hey, Nick, do you like the fact that you actually can live life and make money now when you were blocked for so long and debanked? And I mean, they really went after Nick for a long time. And when that happens to you, I think a lot of people I think any normal person starts to think, okay, I self-preservation to some level.
Yeah, so Nick and Candace kind of have this weird feud going on. So I think when Candace kind of went really hard into it being Israel, that Nick seen the opportunity to kind of take some jabs and kind of mock Candace, and her reporting on it in the very beginning, we didn't have all the evidence we had now. Candace didn't look as confident and as right as she does now. I think a lot of us were just speculating and assuming, because 8 hours after the assassination, it was John Sullivan. So John Sullivan is literally the editor-in-chief of, I believe it's the Washington Times or the Washington Post. I mean, he is one of the only journalists in the world who, in the White House, needs to break a story or needs to get out in front of something or has something that they want to release, whether that's border numbers or whatever. They bring that information literally right to John Sullivan and his team, and they let him kind of, push out the narrative and report on that story. So a man like that gets on Sean Hannity, and I assume Sean's probably the 6 or the 9 p.m. slot, so it would have been 8 or 9 hours after the assassination. And in that interview, he's talking about foreign intelligence may be involved. And, people could say, well, in this context or that context, but he clearly stated that there may be foreign intelligence involved. So why does a man like that get on TV at that point? And then also, it was minutes after the Charlie Kirk assassination, it was Benjamin Netanyahu tweeting out, they tried to kill me too, and basically implying that it was the Muslims. And I think that, when he put out that tweet, it was just so much pushback and so much attack that they realized, well, hey, we can't go with the Muslim angle. That's not going to cut it. Nobody's going to believe that. But we could go with the trans angle. And everybody was speculating right at the beginning, it was probably a trans shooter. It was a tranny because all the school shootings, the last 6 or 8 of them, have been a trans person involved. So I think it was the perfect escape route for them. The perfect Patsy was like, okay, let's make it somebody that's trans. And, one thing led to the next. And then now you also have what Candace is reporting is claiming that the parents were convinced by the FBI to actually put themselves into witness protection, because if they came forward and they said anything to media, there was going to be death threats out for them and they were going to have to hide, and the
Right.
media was going to be surrounding their house. So if you guys just go into witness protection program and don't say anything, so a lot of people are questioning, well, why haven't we heard from the parents? According to Candace,
Right.
well, they didn't turn their son in. It was this magical friend that was like an ex-marshal and friend to the sheriff's department, called up the family and said, hey, the FBI is looking for your son. They might kill him. And Tyler was afraid because he was seeing this photo that kind of looked like him online, but it wasn't him. So his parents said that he was afraid that they were going to kill him. They were going to kick in his door and raid it. So the parents just voluntarily went and turned him in to the police department. I allegedly heard that, this kind of made the FBI panic, because they thought they were going to go kick in the door and possibly raid and take this kid down. And then all of a sudden his parents show up and just turn him into the police station. And now we're kind of like in this Epstein position. Megyn Kelly interviewed Dan Bongino and she's like, well, hey, we heard this kid's suicidal. I mean, you guys got somebody watching his cell, right? And Bongino's like, yeah, the sheriffs have him on suicide watch, I believe. And I go, what you mean to tell me you got an $11.3 billion budget in the FBI, and this is the highest profile assassination that may or may not have foreign intelligence involved, and you don't have one agent or two agents that are watching this kid around the clock on top of whatever security that they are provided by the prison? You got to be kidding me. I heard, this is definitely just completely heard this, but I heard that the same people that are watching him in this environment are the same people who are overseeing the Epstein case. I don't know if there's any truth to that, but this is insane. And now the media, last thing too, media is pushing this narrative that he's suicidal. And Candace wanted to be very, very clear. There is nothing, Tyler's not talked to anybody. No, Tyler's never said anything that he's suicidal to anybody. Why is the media running with this narrative? And she said that on Friday. And then all weekend, 3 different outlets reported that he was suicidal. So I'm like, why are they pushing this narrative?
Yeah, I'm looking at that and they're saying, yeah, he's interesting. Another thing, I did hear from another source that his parents were in witness protection program. So that's really odd. That's really, someone inside of Utah told me that the parents had entered the witness protection program. That's very strange that they would do that.
Did you hear that the FBI is putting pressure? Because so Redacted called me up. This was last Friday, and he said, hey man, I got this big story. I'm really sick. I don't know if I'm going to put it out. He goes, don't tell anybody before I put it out. But I'm getting contacted and telling from my sources inside that are saying that the FBI is getting ready to wrap a bow on this and close this investigation. And then like 3 days ago, Candace came out and said that the FBI was actually putting pressure on the Utah Sheriff's Department to close that investigation.
Wow.
Why?
Yeah. Yeah, they want to just...
The FBI, I don't know if you heard that police scanner report that came out, and the FBI was ordering that the local sheriffs not to interview any of the witnesses at the scene. So why is the FBI giving stand-down orders telling the local sheriff's department not to interview any of these witnesses, when we heard a call come across the scanner saying, hey, there's a man in tactical gear and a face mask, and he has a weapon, on this part of the campus? It just seems really bizarre to me.
I mean, what would you do if you were the Patsy? I mean, that's, like what kind of, think about it from the Patsy's point of view. If you're a Patsy, what can you even do about it? I don't even know what you can even do about it.
How do I take a plea? How do I serve? Don't kill me, please. I will admit to this. Is there any way that I can I know you guys are in a really bad position and you're most likely going to kill me no matter what. But hey, can I keep my mouth shut and just say I did it? Can we work out something? You only give me 5 years? Because I know I'm going to die either way if I don't work with you guys. I think that's what this Patsy's in that big of a position. He was either in on this and the parents are all in on it and it's something much bigger than we ever thought. Or if I'm Tyler, I'm going, they're going to kill me. They're going to either put me on death row and kill me, or they're somehow going to take me out, because I can't imagine that this kid sees a courtroom. With all of this evidence and all the reasonable doubt that we've been able to put into this investigation from here, I mean, the entire world's watching this. So good luck finding a jury pool that hasn't been following our investigation on this. I got 200 million views on my videos. I don't know how many people are in the United States, but there's a lot of people that are watching this and nobody's believing the FBI's narrative. So yeah, what would you do, Kim, if you're this kid?
I mean, I just don't know. I would continue to say I was innocent, but they would just, I guess I would just be killed. I mean, that's what would happen. What are your options? I mean, that's the thing that really sucks for the Patsy is you got a lot of people maybe saying, hey, this doesn't really add up and we're not really believing this, but what kind of power do we have? I mean, all we have is the power of our voices. We could say, this doesn't really add up. You're not showing us good enough evidence. Maybe there's more evidence. Maybe they've got a lot of evidence, but they haven't shown us anything that makes us think that they have really good evidence. What I saw was AI modified photographs of him supposedly walking up the steps And then they're claiming that he had a rifle in those tight jeans while he's walking upstairs. Are you kidding me? That's not possible. And then they admitted, well, the reason why he doesn't look exactly like the picture is because we AI enhanced the picture. Well, what are you doing AI enhancing any picture like this? When it comes to a criminal investigation, no AI should be used at all, ever. I mean, you can't be how you. I mean, how could we trust any photo they put out now of suspects if we now know that they're using AI? They could change anybody into anybody, and then say, "Oh no, we just did a little bit of clear. We just cleared it up a little bit." I mean, no, you shouldn't be using that at all. So, I don't. I mean,
Well, and
if you're a Patsy, I think you're just screwed. I don't know what there is that anybody could do for you.
yeah, and to add on to that, we got the internal documents from the Utah Valley University when they were doing like their security updates or whatever, and they had this whole document. It's a PDF and all the cameras and the surveillance equipment that they use at these universities. And one of the universities was updated in 2022, and the other one was updated in 2024. So they have state of the art. I mean, these are Arlington security cameras.
Right.
These things are new, they're high quality. And again, to go back, the 1998 Columbine shooter CCTV footage, we could clearly see the man's face. And it's 2025, and you expect us to believe that there's not some video when he was on campus from 8:23, according to their reports, all the way until 12:25, basically, when he, scurried off the campus lawn.
Right.
Come
Yeah,
on
they
now.
should be able to trace his every move, and we should have tons of video of him. You're right. I mean, we got way
He
more
had a phone in his
footage of.
pocket.
Yeah, yeah,
And then they said he pulled out his phone. He was doing something on his phone on campus too, on security camera. So where is all this footage?
right. Where is it? Where is it? But more importantly, where is him taking the shot? And they have cameras right there. Why do we not see him with the gun taking the shot, getting up, running, and then jumping off the roof? Why don't we see that? So many things
Because if it
don't
was
add
any
up.
longer
Also,
than 3 seconds, he couldn't be there. He couldn't have taken
right,
that shot. If he was
right,
running before 3 seconds, yeah, he couldn't
yeah,
have taken that shot.
yeah, right, right. Oh my gosh. I mean, I wonder if we're ever going to really get to. I mean, do you think we're ever going to really solve this? Do you think we're ever going to get really to the bottom of this?
Well, I will say, you probably know this better than everybody. What was what did it feel like on social media a week after the Trump assassination or 2 weeks after? 2 weeks after, I remember anything. A cat getting hit by a car could have been a bigger story than people that were talking about the Trump assassination. We're now 21
Mhm.
days past the Charlie Kirk assassination. And I think there is more people paying attention to this investigation now than there was in the very beginning. So I think this thing's different. I think this is a turning point for us. Are we going to get the truth? I don't know. But the more the FBI tries to cover this up, the more evidence that comes out, I think the worse it looks for them. Yeah.
Ryan Maddow,
Let me
thank
ask
you.
you this
Yeah,
too.
go ahead.
Oh,
Yeah,
go ahead.
yeah.
Last thing,
Go
Kim.
ahead. No.
So,
Yeah.
if this is a cover up, how does this play out? Right? Like, say somebody has a video that they haven't released and it shows that this guy's, they get crystal clear, he's in a tactical mask, and it blows their story out of the water. That the FBI is obviously lying and covering this up. Like, do you understand the scale of this? You're talking about the FBI, intelligence agencies, this administration, the media, all being involved in concocting some mastermind, framing an innocent man. I mean, this is bigger than Watergate. I think it's the biggest scandal of our lifetime, maybe even in the history of our country, because it's right up there with JFK. So how does this play out? How would we as a country recover from
Right.
this? How would that happen?
I will say I don't think that many people are complicit. I think most people are incompetent. And I think that most media, most news, I mean, we see this all the time. They just regurgitate. They literally take one source from like Reuters, and then you suddenly see that exact same headline and that exact same story regurgitated word for word. Headline is identical in every single news outlet. So I just don't think that I don't think they're doing their due diligence. I think they're just reprinting and that's how we get these kind of narratives. And, we've seen this play out throughout, for the last 10 years, basically, since Donald Trump started running for president in particular, and him really calling out the fake news. We're really seeing how fake the news actually is. So I don't think news organizations are complicit. I just think that they're lazy. They're strapped. They don't have a lot of resources. A lot of them have had to cut budgets. They've had to cut staff. They're just trying to put out as much news as they possibly can. And they're just not caring about the quality of the news source or if it's accurate, or they're not investigating. And I think also with the administration, I think there's a lot of political pressure to just say a lefty did it. And that's what we need. We need the lefty to have done it. We need the weird trans furry death cult to have done this. and we're not going to look any further. And it doesn't matter, even if the person's individually suspicious and they're like, "Ah, yeah, but this doesn't really add up. And maybe there was, this, that, or I don't think that there needs to be that many people involved in this conspiracy. I just think that everybody has their own motives. And I think that if you are a professional assassin organization, be it Mossad or even being it an adjacent, I don't necessarily think it was, I'm not saying it wasn't Israel. I don't necessarily think it was Israel in particular, like the government, but I think it could be because Israel uses a lot of radicals and fanaticals to do what they want for them. And whether they direct them or not, they just kind of give them, they turn a blind eye when they do things and they think, okay, well, that helped us, so we're not going to say anything. And they do this all the time throughout the West Bank. I mean, that's how they've been taking Palestinian homes and building settlements. It's a lot of it is just the government turning a blind eye and letting the radicals do what the radicals want to do. Armed radicals who are highly trained, who've been trained, who leave the IDF as snipers, and then they're like doing all this crazy stuff. So I don't necessarily think it has to be government sanctioned, but certainly the Israelis don't mind it. I mean, and Netanyahu was, I mean, the only thing that makes me think it was government was that Netanyahu was just really quick to come out and mention Charlie Kirk over and over and over again, more, faster than even American media, faster than even American, and this is a prime minister of a country that's at war with like 7 other countries. And he has the time to, and just the fact that he knew Charlie was dead before even mainstream media knew Charlie was dead. It's like, you have to have somebody in the hospital, maybe with those meta glasses or whatever, Ray-Bans, right? Like showing you this is what's going on. And so, yep, so there's a lot of things that don't add up. But it could have been another organization that did it. That's Israeli aligned, right? That's Zionist Israeli aligned. And they're like, we just don't like this guy. And Charlie was even saying, I'm feeling, why can I not speak up against Israel? Why can I not? Which of course he could. He had a mouth. He obviously could open it. Nobody had sewn it shut. Something else made him feel like he couldn't. There was some other pressure on him or fear or terror on him that made him feel like he couldn't, even though obviously he could open his mouth and use it. Nobody was saying he couldn't. So, there's a lot of stuff that doesn't really add up, but I don't think that the government has to be complicit or the media has to be complicit. I just think they have to. I think that if you're a professional assassin organization, you play on everybody's motives. You play on everybody else's needs, motives, and desires, and you just push those buttons and they're going to run with it because that's what they need.
Yeah, I guess our CIA doesn't really work for the American government, so why would we assume that Mossad works for the Israel government? They go rogue, so very possible. Yeah.
Well, I just don't think also that a leader, I don't think Netanyahu's like, yep, do it. Maybe, but but a lot of times these things just happen. I mean, maybe, but and certainly, it's very possible, but also it could just be leaders that they just turn a blind eye. They hear rumblings and they're like, yeah, I'm not really thrilled with this. It's kind of like, like when you're a little kid and you want to, and you like give a hint to your parents what you want for your birthday. You're not asking for it directly. You're not saying, yes, I want this, do this, right? You're just kind of slipping a little hint, or it's more likely, not little kids, they really ask, but like your partner, your wife or your husband or whoever. And you're like, oh, I would like this this would be so nice to have. And it's like, Christmas is coming up, right? Like you're not directly asking for it, but you're putting the strong hints out that you would like this to happen. And that could be something that also, strong hints could have been placed. And then another group said, oh, okay, we've basically got our orders. Like we know what you want for Christmas or for whatever holiday, right? So I don't know. I mean, but it's certainly, I really appreciate all the work you're doing on this. I mean, you have been really on the forefront, and I like that you're gathering, you're looking at even everybody else's work and kind of putting it all together, because a lot of us are interviewing people, asking questions, putting things together. And it's good that somebody like you, especially, is kind of then gathering it all together in one place. And that is where, your content has been like, and then this person had this person on and they said this, and then this person had this person on and they said this. And then I've also hired somebody to go and look at this, and this is what they came back with, and this is what I'm seeing. And, that's all I think really important, to have somebody kind of sticking it all in one spot, So good work, Ryan. You've been really great. We do have your link down below for people to follow you on X, because that's where I've been seeing all of your great work. Is there anywhere else that you want people to go?
No, dude, that's it, Kim. I do these Twitter spaces on at least Monday and Friday, if not Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for the Charlie Kirk investigation, where I'm bringing all the, best journalists that are working on this. And, I say best, I had a girl on last week that only had 250 followers. So I'm not doing it, just like the Ian Carrolls and the big names. Anybody that's doing great work, we're trying to bring them all in there and just in 2 hours, give everybody 10 or 15 minutes to speak. That way you guys can stay updated with everything that's going on with the best information that we have at the time. And then just my social media is just Ryan Matta Films over on YouTube, Ryan Matta on Rumble, and Ryan Matta Media on X. Thank you very much.
All right. Well, we do have those links down below. Somebody you should also look into is George Webb. He's been on site at Utah. He's been investigating and on site and going to the Dairy Queen that he supposedly ate and walking around. So I don't know if he's still there, but somebody kind of interesting to also look into bringing into your spaces and having some chats with. So Ryan Matta, thank you again for being here. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Kim. God bless.
Thank you for watching this clip from the full Kim Iverson Show, which you can catch Monday through Friday, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern at KimIversonShow.com. It is free for you to watch. Again, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, KimIversonShow.com. See you there.